We're going to talk about the five don'ts today. Um, we've been just talking the anger resolution, part of core programs, which stands for Center of Our Relationship Experiences. So we talk a lot about what's happened to us and how we relate to life, to God, to love, to family, to ourselves. Um, and I'm coming at this a little bit different. We may have done something like this before, but I just feel like I have to, right in the middle of anger resolution, go back that at this. I want to challenge you on something. If you want to stay dysfunctional, don't do these five things. Now I'm coming at it backwards because usually you would say, if you want to be dysfunctional, or if you want to be functional, go ahead and do these things. But I'm kind of jackknifing your brain a little bit because you'll hear this differently if I say it this way. The five don'ts. If you want to stay dysfunctional, don't do these five things. So everything within you is going to try to. We're trying to stay dysfunctional here. So therefore, I can't do these next five things. And the number one thing you can't do is talk. We cannot talk about what we're really feeling. We don't talk about or discuss issues. I just don't talk. I mean, I'm trying to keep dysfunctional here. I mean, if I start talking, things could start functioning right, and we can't risk that. I might actually have to own some behavior. I might have to dig into something I don't want to dig into, and so therefore, I'm just not going to talk. That's what I'm not going to do. And so we call it silent knighting people. Sometimes we'll call it that. Stonewalling. You can stonewall a person just by just not talking, just staring at them. Like I ain't giving you nothing. There's no communication, or the communication they have is almost like passive aggressive. Well, if you want to stay dysfunctional, then you have to do that. You have to not talk, right? We're not going to get into this. I'm not going to share how I feel. I don't want to ask questions. I don't want to bring anything up. I'm not talking. I'm just not. And I want to stay dysfunctional. So I'm going to make sure that I don't talk. And number two is then I won't feel. See, because when I talk about something, then I feel. And that's like a big thing. If I'm going to go feeling, those feelings start to get real, then I'm going to have to deal with some. It leads into a whole functional thing that could actually lead me down a road that, is going to be work. And I don't want to do that work. So that's why I'm not talking about it, nor am I allowing any feelings to come forward. Also, if I allow myself to feel, you might talk me into talking. And I'm just not going to feel. So I'm going to stonewall my own heart. I'm going to stonewall the situation. I'm just going to put up a blocker that says, no talk, no feel. And remember, I said in the last podcast, we record everything through our five senses. So we're really choosing to shut ourselves down, our expression down, our ability to process through things and sort things. When I say I'm not going to talk and I ain't going to feel, I'm also really not going to deal. So I am not going to be looking to sort out anything or put anything away or unpack anything, because that would require some talking and asking questions. And then I might feel something. And so then in order to make sure that I don't feel, I shut down all appropriate touch. Don't hug me. I'm not a hugger. Don't touch my hand. Don't put your hand on my back. Just stay out of my space. Like what are you doing? Um, and we'll avoid certain people that we know will express appropriate touch to us. Appropriate touch is something that we need. We need when we are reassured. There's a calming that comes if I just put my hand in someone's back and say, "Hey, how you doing today?" And I'm exuding a calm to them or whatever, building that thing of a genuine care. It's like, yeah, let's talk. I'm not that you can feel when somebody is manipulative through inappropriate touch. They can look like they're appropriately touching you, but there's a feeling of manipulation in it and control. Well, I understand not wanting that, but we're trying to stay dysfunctional. So we better get back on track because we're trying to stay dysfunctional and we're not going to do these five things. We're not going to talk. We're not going to feel. And I don't want any appropriate touch because that'll bring up feelings and then I'll end up talking about it. And I hate that. I don't want to have to process it. Let's just pretend all of these things are not here. And, in order to secure that, I might just get drunk. I just might go do some drugs. I might put on a different avatar and pretend I'm somebody else. That way, I don't have to talk or feel or have appropriate touch regarding any of those things. I could pull away from family or important people in my lives or whatever and just pretend they don't exist because I'm literally trying to stay dysfunctional. Remember, if you want to stay dysfunctional, don't do these 5 things. So now, if I'm not allowing appropriate touch, and then it's not going to give me any feelings, and then I don't have to talk about it, I'm not looking to resolve a thing. Are you kidding me? No, I don't want to resolve why I'm angry. I don't want to resolve why I feel hurt or lost or any of those things. Um, that's way too much. I'm trying to stay dysfunctional here. We're not really looking to resolve. So some people will argue even though they don't really want to talk, feel, or have appropriate touch. They'll argue in a way that's just argument. It's just spinning your wheels around, but it's not something we're really looking to resolve. We're not coming up with a, hey, this is what we're going to do and resolve. We're looking for an answer that will lead us somewhere that will cause a resolve. No, I'm trying to stay dysfunctional, remember? And so I don't talk, I don't feel, I don't have appropriate touch, nor am I going to resolve a blessed thing. And so, also to resolve might mean that I would have to admit I'm wrong in an area. Not if I'm going to stay dysfunctional. I'm working really hard to stay dysfunctional, so I'm not admitting to anything. I'm not doing self-analysis and be looking at myself and um and then what if in resolving that other person was wrong and they said sorry to me, and now what do I do with my emotions when I'm trying to stay dysfunctional? In this resolve. They've literally brought it on the table to resolve it, and now I can't process that. That's too much information. We're not doing that. Let's just leave resolve out of it. And then the last thing, if you want to stay dysfunctional, by the way, is to not trust. I don't trust people. I just choose not to trust God. I don't trust myself. Wow, scary. That's really scary that you have no one to trust, because how scary is the world inside your body and outside your body if there's no level of platform that you're standing on? Everything feels like the bottom's falling out at any time or could possibly, just blow up. And we don't know when. We can't trust anything. But I'm trying to stay dysfunctional. So I'm choosing not to learn the skills it takes to trust. Because if I start trusting, guess what's going to happen? I might actually want to resolve some things. And I already said I'm staying dysfunctional, so I'm not looking to resolve a blessed thing. And then, because you know what happens if you start to resolve something, appropriate touch could happen. I could actually start feeling like someone cares about me. I can't do that and stay dysfunctional. I'm trying to stay dysfunctional here. And then that might be just, I'm going to have feelings. And if I have feelings, I'm going to end up talking about it. And I swore to myself, I will not talk about this. Well, it's kind of fun to go through it that way because your brain hears it different. If most people aren't like, "Hey, I'm the person in class trying to stay dysfunctional. Leave me alone," and everyone's like, "Good job. We're gonna support that." No, it comes at it a little bit different, so it jackknifes your brain a little bit, but makes you think in a different way. But literally, we have to talk about some things. You have to actually feel. We're afraid to feel because it gets too real. And we're used to concealing, and we don't want to reveal because then we're going to have to figure out how to deal. And that's hard. That's hard. And it feels like it'll be too much information. It'll be too hard, too like we'll surely die from that. No, you're not going to die from crying. You're not going to die from the emotions. You have to get to safety though, because some people do take strong actions as soon as they start to feel. They say, I shouldn't have talked about it because now I'm going to feel, because now I'm going to go use. Now I'm going to act out my anger. Now I'm going to see what this caused. If you'd have let me not talking, then I wouldn't have this problem. I wouldn't have busted up the house. I wouldn't have done all these different things. Well, when that just says to me, if we start talking about it and your feelings take over to that degree, what kind of explosive thing is inside of you that is so dysregulated? You're not able to regulate yourself. Like, it's okay for me to cry. It's okay for me to go for a walk and to express to God how angry I am. It's okay to do something in a functional manner. It's like, no, if I start to feel people are getting hurt, I'm gonna hurt myself. You're making me feel. If this is your protection in the long run, it will choke you out in the long run anyway. We're not made like that. We're made to give and receive love. We're made where we receive love from God and then we give love to people. We receive love from people and we give praise to God. And it's like a pipe system that when it's clogged somewhere there in the middle, it's trouble. Everything's going to back up and it's going to stink. It's like a sewer system gone wrong, right? Or a pipe in the kitchen that you're just trying to use it to expel some things. And these are good things. Like, you could use it in a sewer way, but then to get things out and get new things in that are good. Fresh water in the sink. I mean, it's the example really is just about the clogging though. If we're by choice allowing ourselves to be clogged up, we're not going to talk about it because the biggest one we'll be afraid of is what if I feel? What if I actually feel? I I don't trust me. I don't trust people with my feelings. I don't trust that they're not going to feel something back toward me that's going to hurt me even more. But these feelings that are inside of us are not meant to stay. It's like we're supposed to express, receive back, express. And sometimes therapy wise, it might sound silly, but journaling helps you to allow feelings to come out. I used to think it's so dumb. Like, yes, I'm just writing on a piece of paper. Yeah, but I was letting my feelings out and was like, hey, I just talked about it without talking about it. That's craziness. And I started to be able to process because I was acknowledging that I am a person who has feelings. It's okay to feel. And then in that, what that does is part of why we don't want to feel is we start looking for appropriate touch. Sometimes what happens is we've been tricked to go, I'm having feelings and now I need to jump into a codependent relationship. I feel desperate. I need any kind of touch. No, I'm talking about appropriate touch. Reestablishing who you are kind of touch. The affirming that you're going to be okay kind of touch. The prayer, the holding of a hand that says it's going to be okay. We're here for you. The grounding of that is the kind of touch. So then we don't trust ourselves because we'll just go out and I don't know, do something crazy with a relationship, and then we're like, well, I don't know, I was just looking for appropriate touch. Not appropriate. That's that's when it backfires. It's when it's not appropriate. So and then we'll say, well, it didn't resolve anything, and so I don't trust anybody, and the cycle starts back over again. But literally, people, if you're saying, I can't talk, I won't feel, I won't have appropriate touch, I'm not going to resolve, I don't trust a living soul, and you make up your mind to do that, but you expect another person to help you out of that, there's no way out. You have to make the way by choosing this day what you're going to serve, who you're going to serve. Are you going to choose life that you might live? Or are you going to choose to destroy yourself? Because if you want to stay dysfunctional, don't do these 5 things. Don't do the talk. Don't do the feel. Don't do appropriate touch. Don't do resolve and don't do trust, I should say. But then in the end, all of those needs not being met are a torture to you. And we'll be mad at the people who have hurt us that cause us to shut down and to begin with. But in the end, it's not them. You can't blame it on them. In the end, it's I chose to stay this way. I chose to stay dysfunctional. I'm not risking it. I'm not going to feel those feelings. I'm not going to allow myself to trust. It's my only protection. It's my only mechanism. And my heart hurts for people who go through that I went through that in a period of my life, and so I know how to stay dysfunctional. But now know how to be functional, which just basically means doesn't mean you're dumb. It just means something is actually working the way that it should, like a wheel that goes round is actually going round. And you're like, that's how that was designed, and it's doing what it was meant. The design said to do. And so we're literally to stay dysfunctional means I'm not going to function right because I'm not going to express myself. I don't want to feel. I don't want to have appropriate touch. I don't want resolve and I don't want to have to trust, which is all encapsulated in love. But we don't want those things, but we want to feel loved. You're not going to feel loved because you've shut down avenues for love to get in. And you've shut down avenues for the love you have that needs to be expressed and get out. So please, I get if you don't want to, you want to stay dysfunctional, then don't do these things. But my plea is for you today is to come over to functionality the way God designed you. Allow Him in that design to show you how to get your needs met and how to meet the needs of others because you're actually operating in the design He originally had for you. You're not shutting down how He created you. God is love, and He loves you.